We're looking at the new SmartFlo Adobe Air client. This is a rich client, and so we're going to take a look at the navigation that has changed within this client to make it more intuitive. First off, you'll notice that it's branded, and you register the client with the server, in this case, CHALEX.SmartFlo.biz. I'm going to log into the Jobs and Tasks section. You could log into Archives directly or Jobs and Tasks. And this branding can change. As you notice, it's very minor, but you could see the little change there. So we're saving the login information. If we forget our password, we can click that and it'll send us an email link. And we can also update to the latest version of the client automatically by clicking Update SmartFlo. But let's log in. So we're going to log in. Of course, it would help if I put in my password correctly. And it is case sensitive, so it's important that you regard that. And you'll see this little wheel come up. It'll take a few seconds because it's loading from the server all of the column configurations. And I said I wanted to log into Archives, so let's just take a quick look at Archives. Under the tab that you arrive at, you'll notice that I have several archives over here, and some of them are shared by different users. Gary is sharing some system data, and I can see all of these different icons that he's using. And he's got other information in here that is related to the engineering of the system. Now, these are my archives, and I'll just close Gary's. He's sharing those with me, and I'm sharing some of these with SmartFlo users. So if I come down here to user guides, for example, and I go to the video links side, here you can see that we have a display of various files that are being held in the archive, and these are the actions that we can perform on them. We also notice that down below here we have the view on taxonomies, and taxonomies is just another way of finding access to images. So if I come over here and I say Photolia and I want to look at some beach photos, then here we go, and these all came in automatically through the taxonomy search. We also have simply a multitask, tagging search. So if you wanted to see like the cathedral and the bazaar as a particular document, look at art. There's various art. If I go to LEG, this is a client that has various activities in terms of biographies of their talent. If we wanted to go further into archives, we have a property search, we have collections, all of which you can check out through the e-guide that is online. If you go to sharing, this is how you share archives. And so you can see here, you create a personal group, you assign archives to the group. It's a drag and drop kind of action. And then you have users that you can manage in the group. So if you wanted to delete multiple users from a group or add users, you can do that. And here you can just monitor the user assignments. Now, if you come over to new, you can create a new archive and you could decide who it's going to be accessible by. And these are the assignable groups that you've created. You can create any archive you want. You can see here's the archive ID. If you have archives that are in nested folders, you'll see that there'll be a project ID. And if we just quickly go back to archives and look at some of those folder structures, you can see that these are the nested structures. And when you're creating a new one, what you end up doing is putting a dot in after one layer to another. So SmartFlo dot user guides. And you can see here who it's a quick user guide and who it's accessible by. And then over here, the same for collections. Now let's move out of archives and look at affiliate archives. And that's a kind of a broader view. And these are archives that are being managed at the affiliate level, SmartFlo. And if you change the various affiliates, then you will see various other archives that may have been shared. The address book is a way of adding people to groups that are not in your affiliate. And so if you know the user ID and they're in a different affiliate, hey, you're all great. Just add them to your address book. You'll be able to share with them. Now over here in the far right, where you typically see the More function, we're going to go to Jobs and Tasks. When you come over to Jobs and Tasks, the top level is your task list. This is the tasks that are assigned to you, and in any case, if you have a Create Proof Doc task, when you click on it, it opens up the task. If you wanted to go to the job bag, you can see the files that are in the job bag. You could look at the job data, and you can close the task. If you come over to job views, you then have a view from a project manager perspective on the job board, the ability to search across various affiliated groups in the job board. And so if I came in here and said I wanted to search on Stephen Gould, I would hit that and then come down to this box. You can see the bounding box for the search, and I hit run search, and then these are all the Stephen Gould jobs that are on the job board. You can save these searches. You can recall them from a save search engine, and then you have different views. So you could look at graphically, what does this job look like? These two jobs are at create purchase order, and you can see here, this is create proof doc, which was the task that it was at. Sorry, I thought it was create proof doc. Here's create proof doc. If you go back and forth between these, you can see PRL upload purchase order. Here's one that's at PRL upload purchase order. So the graph view shows you exactly where the loading is in the workflow, and you pick the workflow, and you could even come down and pick the team. In this case, it's the demo team, and you can get more granular, but in this case, this account is not using these fields. So the other thing you can do is you can go to manage jobs, and you can start jobs. You can also load jobs from a CSV, and this would allow you to preload a batch of jobs. You can also manage projects, and jobs are nested inside projects, so you could create a new project here. And let me change the affiliate so we can see more metadata. Let's go down here just to the SmartFlo affiliate, where you can see there's other jobs that have been created, and you're able to also go in and activate, deactivate projects and assign jobs to projects when they've been started and not associated with a project. There's also the project job bag, where you have the ability to define assets that will be accessible to groups in the affiliate. And so if I said I wanted to make that asset accessible to the design group and set it to be accessible, it becomes a project asset. Anytime a job arrives in this particular project, it will have that asset available to the design group. It will not be visible to any of the other groups. Then you can go over here to asset search, and this is a matching search function. I'm just going to type in something really simple like Mur for Murray, and I'm going to look at running jobs and approvable assets. So these are the approvable assets. You can see they all have the A, and they're in running jobs. If I go to completed jobs and I wanted to see approvable assets, then I'm getting one completed job with approvable assets. I can go to any job, any asset where I've uploaded anything, and I'm going to get a large result. I've got 256 images that I can look at. I could, scroll through. By scrolling down, you'll see these will refresh, and you'll have access to any of these assets. If I click on one, you'll see it will pop up. I can look at the versions if it was version controlled. I can look at the comment log if there was comments. I can view the asset, download the asset, and look at the asset properties. And here you have metadata related to the asset. So that's under asset search, and then of course preferences. Preferences is going to give you the ability to set your team preferences, notifications, and manage your address book, manage the view of what job board columns you want to see, and what tools might you want to have on those job board views. Same thing with teams. What teams might you want to be working with that you could start jobs through? You don't necessarily want to have access to all the teams, and depending on which affiliate you're in, you're only going to select those teams that you really are going to start jobs through. So that's kind of a quick look at the Jobs tab. Let's kind of slide over to the administration side. And most users won't be in here. This is really to administer and set up the system. And here you have the ability to look at workflows from a task perspective, a milestone perspective, and actually load and publish workflows, where you load and unload the workflow definition. You then publish it to the various affiliates, And then once you've done that and you go in and start looking at users, you will have, a series of users that are involved. You can add and delete users, and then you have teams and groups. From a teams and groups perspective, resource teams are the combination of roles in a workflow and the specific workflow. So when you come over here and you look at the ACC Choice demo, we've assigned every role to the demo team. And if we come over here, we can see who's in the demo team. And a little quick. There it is. If I drag Jack Flash in, there he is. So Jack Flash is in. And he's in the studio group. Switch back to Mars. It's just me. Most of the time it's me demoing the system. Let's go to company data. In the company data side, these are the views that you have for how the data appears in the start jobs briefing form. You can have label override editor. This is where you're changing the field names and the label overrides. And you can actually load bulk product information. From a configuration perspective, you have a systems list that you can manage, and these are the pull downs so that when you're in start jobs, you have values that you can select from. You have override roles that you can define for any given affiliate and workflow. And of course, the corporate calendar where you define what days you work. And so when you're actually calculating milestones, you want to take into consideration the holidays and the weekends so that you're allocating the time appropriately. And then, of course, affiliate properties. And you can see here there's a list of properties, a list of affiliates, and any properties that you want to assign or add in addition to the default property values that have been made available. The site information is generally only viewed by SmartFlo administrators or SmartFlo site managers, and so that's really not something that you're going to interact with. So that's a quick run through the navigation of the new Adobe Air V8 client for SmartFlo.